The shrill alarm jolted me awake at precisely 6 o'clock in the morning, as it did every morning. I rolled over, groaning, and hit the snooze button. The air was crisp and the smell of coffee from the kitchen downstairs was comforting, yet there was an underlying sense of dread that I couldn't pinpoint. My reflection in the mirror seemed to mock me with a knowing glint in its eye. As I was eating, I suddenly remembered I had a meeting with Mr. Thompson at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The memory hit me like a brick wall. I had already attended that meeting, and it ended disastrously. I rushed to my desk, trying to shake the unsettling thoughts. The next morning, the alarm woke me at 6 a.m. again, the same shrill sound, the same routine. Panic started to set in as I realized I was living the same day over, and the day after that, and the day after that. Each time the events became more distorted, more terrifying. Shadows that shouldn't exist, figures lurking just out of sight, whispers that grew louder with each repetition. Desperation gnawed at me. I began searching for any anomaly, any clue that could explain the time loop. Days turned into weeks, and my sanity frayed at the edges. One evening, as I pored over my notes and theories, I noticed something, a recurring symbol in my nightmares, a sinister mark that seemed to follow me through each iteration of the day. It was a twisted, arcane symbol I had never seen before. I needed to know its meaning. That night, I prepared myself for what felt like a final battle. As the day reset, I followed the clues and the symbol's presence to an abandoned building on the outskirts of town. The air grew colder as I approached, and the shadows seemed to writhe with malicious intent. Inside, the air was thick with malevolence. The symbol was etched into the floor, glowing with a sickly light. The whispers crescendoed into a cacophony of madness. Steeling myself, I stepped into the center of the symbol and called out to the entity. It manifested as a dark, shapeless form, eyes burning with ancient fury. The terror I felt was indescribable, but I stood my ground. With every ounce of willpower, I chanted the incantation I had found, invoking a counter-curse. The entity shrieked in rage, its form writhing and distorting. When I awoke, the alarm was ringing at 6 a.m., but this time it was different. The sun's light was warmer, the air was clearer, and the sense of dread was gone. One evening, as I was cleaning up my desk, I found a note tucked under my keyboard. It was in my handwriting, but I had no memory of writing it. The message was brief and chilling. You broke the loop, but you didn't destroy the source. As I approached the site of the ritual, I noticed something I had missed before, a hidden door, half buried under rubble. Prying the door open, I descended into a subterranean chamber. The walls were lined with ancient symbols, all leading to a pedestal at the center of the room. Inside was a simple, unadorned mirror. As I lifted it, the room seemed to warp around me. My reflection twisted and shifted, showing me images of my past, my fears, and finally the entity I had confronted. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. The mirror was the true source of the loop, a vessel for the entity's power. To break free completely, I needed to destroy it. Summoning every ounce of strength, I raised the mirror above my head and smashed it against the pedestal. The shattering glass erupted into a brilliant light and a deafening roar filled the chamber. When the light faded, I found myself standing in the middle of the room, the mirror reduced to a pile of shards. The oppressive atmosphere had lifted, replaced by a serene stillness. I knew in that moment that I had finally broken free. As I made my way back home, the night air felt crisp and clean. Laura was waiting for me, worry etched on her face, but as I stepped through the door and into her arms, I felt a profound sense of peace. The next morning, the alarm rang at 6 a.m., and I greeted the day with a smile. But as I looked at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, I noticed something strange. For a fleeting moment, my reflection winked at me before returning to normal. A shiver ran down my spine. Had I truly escaped, or was the nightmare only just beginning? The question lingered in my mind as I went about my day, the sense of unease never quite leaving me.